Get on! Get on! He's gouged us, he's gouged us! He's hit us, Sherman! A mother.
Fun fact about the ZSU is that if it fired too long for continual periods, it could overheat so badly that the heat of the barrels would cause grounds to start discharging accidentally.
Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. So, something today for you that's a little bit different. Today we're not going in the air, we're sticking on the ground. We're doing an educational video about Russian SAMs dated 1950 I guess, up to the early 80s. So first of all, why are we doing that? Well, because that is the date range that is used in our sim that we use, and it's called DCS World. The aircraft that it models are from what, mid-1940s I guess, or early 40s up to early to mid-80s I suppose. And so hence these are the type of SAMs that are in here, because it keeps everything, you know, accurate and in line with each other. So we're going to go basically down the list. They're all in order of their SA designation and talk about them, about their various statistics in real life and in the DCS sim. We've got me, I apologise, I'm a little bit under the weather, and Sherman is batshit sick, aren't you, Sherman? But it just shows the absolute dedication. We're going to go through it anyway. Are you ready, Sherman?
Not as ready as I will be.
There you go, that's him right there. Right, so we move on to just the most hated thing in the world. It is the ZU-23. Basically just a hand-aimed gun. There's no radar or no actuators really as such, no aiming system as far as I know. What are they, 23mm guns, Sherman?
Yes, dual-barrel 23mm guns.
And absolutely lethal, like within a mile, if you're flying head-on or even if you're flanking, they can whack you out of the sky. It's not even a particularly high caliber. Usually we use them in this dug-in type scenario. They're super easy to kill, but they are dangerous, and people often underrate them, how good they are, especially if there's more than one. So stay well clear of the bloody things, or use a Maverick or something from several miles away. Right, next we go on to this. It doesn't get any better. In fact, it's going to keep on getting worse, I'm afraid, because we've got next, it is, what's it called? It's, let me get my brain working. It's the ZSU-23-4 Shilka. So this is it's an armoured mobile unit. It's quad, must be auto cannons, and it's radar driven, or sorry, radar guided, and again absolutely lethal. Within about a mile it'll whack you out the sky, even if you're doing dodging manoeuvres, unless they're really, really high G. Do you know what cannons they are, Sherman? The Shilka.
I'm pretty sure they're the same 23mm cannons, except they're quad-barreled.
So quad-barreled versions of them, yeah, they look about the same. Absolutely obscenely lethal. So again, if you're going to take them out, don't go in with rockets or guns. Even the GAU, it'll probably beat a GAU, you know, just in guidance. So go in with your Mavericks or your GBUs or whatever. So that's that. They usually come in big units of 5 to 10, we find, when we're making their missions. Next is an empty space. Is the SA-2 that apparently is coming to DCS soon. What do we know about the SA-2, Sherman? I don't know anything about it.
The SA-2 Guideline is effectively the first example of a radar-guided SAM used en masse by the Soviet Union and its allies. It's got hundreds of kills in Vietnam, and there are many stories that come out of Vietnam of wild weasel attacks on these things. Basic principle is that this thing uses two independent search and track radars, as well as several launchers. They're mostly analog systems, but they all work together, and they can be spread out in such a way that if you attack the radar, you're not necessarily attacking the launchers.
Now you'll note in a lot of our missions, what we do is we put all of the systems together. So we've got an SA-3 here. We quite often, I can't get a pointer out. We often put them together like this, and that's just to make it easy for the viewers to understand that it is a full system, and it makes it easiest for us to kill. In reality, any of these systems wouldn't be bunched together like this. In fact, that middle unit there would be a mile over there, and that radar system there would be a mile over there, to make them incredibly spaced out and hard to kill. Yeah.
So the Vietnamese had a tactic where they would often launch the missile dumb with sort of a guesstimate trajectory at the aircraft, and only essentially activates the tracking radar at the late stage of tracking, almost simulating a pitfall.
Hey, firm. So what is the SA2? Is that got a date? Is that 60s, I'm guessing?
It was introduced into service in 1957.
Wow, old stuff. So that is right, old. Okay, right. Next, we're moving on to the SA3. Does it have a nickname, and what is the date of introduction, please?
Right, SA3 Goa. Its Russian name is the S125. It can be launched from a number of systems. However, in DCS, it typically just uses the static launcher, although I've seen screenshots of it having a truck-mounted launcher.
A firm, I've seen them on truck launchers, okay.
So, SA3 was introduced around 1961. What makes the SA3 different to the SA2 is rather than being a longer-range SAM, it's a two-stage shorter-range SAM. So, if you look at a screenshot of it, you'll notice at the back there's a large fat section on the rear, which is actually the initial launch booster.
Ah, I did not know that. Yep, it's 2 missiles, so the launch booster and then the missile takes off after...
yeah, so it aims roughly in the direction you need. The booster will fire. Once the booster jettisons, it'll go into a terminal tracking of the target. And typically these things are used at substantially shorter ranges, which means that they can be substantially more accurate.
A firm. Cool. Okay, so that's that. So this is an example of 4 on a static launcher. Now it's got a separate track radar and search radar. So I don't know anything about radars, but I'm guessing this here is a search radar that's spinning around, and this here must be, I guess, the track radar. I'm guessing this thing can rotate and turn to track the target, which would make sense. So that's interesting. And presumably, if you kill any of these items, either the track radar or the search radar, then that is it out of commission. So that is interesting. Okay, so that's the SA3. As regards to deadly range, we usually say about 10 miles if you are in DCS world, at least. 10 miles if you're up high, and if you're down low, about 6 miles, something like that. And if you're down flying really low in the trees and in the in the buildings, then it's not particularly good, very easy to fool. We found in the Vigans you can go low and beat it quite easily. Does it say the range on Wikipedia or whatever you're using out of interest?
Operational range 35 kilometers or 22 miles.
Wow, so that's a difference. So it's much shortened in DCS than for whatever reason, but I'm bloody glad it is. I wouldn't want to fight that, because they're SA3s are manoeuvrable. Just because they're old, don't think they're crappy. When that missile there separates, it's quite a small missile, separates from the body. It is manoeuvrable. So I've always said, if you're going to fight an SA3, make sure you've got the energy to get out quick, because they'll catch you up and fight with you very easily. So yeah, okay, that's fine. So we'll work with DTS range. That is about 10 miles. Right, SA6 Cub this will be. So what I know from DTS is that this unit here is the combined track and search radar, which looks a bit funky, but it works. Again, pretty easy to fool if you're down in the mud. You fly all the way up to them as long as you're literally kissing the dirt, and they have a minimum range as well. So if you get within about a mile or so, we find they can't track and fire at you. Regards to the launcher, it's a mobile launcher this time, and it carries 3 missiles, and they do not break up. They're a big single missile. They go in DCS a lot further. They go 13 miles, we found, at a decent altitude, and about 8-9 miles if it's down on the ground, we found. The good thing is it's a whopping great missile. If you look at the size of it compared to a broken down SA3, it's a big missile, and a good thing about big missiles is they don't turn very well. So you can outmaneuver one of these easier than you can an SA3, we found. Can you tell us, Sherman, when it was introduced, the Cub, and what its real life active range is? And
they were introduced into service in 1970, according to this.
70, yep, feels about right.
The operational range of the missiles is 15 miles.
15 miles, so that's pretty accurate to DCS in this case. Then that is, I'd say 13 miles, maybe 15 is accurate. Maximum range, again, that's against a good target that's flying high where the air is thin. So that's that. And notice how I've shown them here. I've just shown one launcher with the radar unit. You could have lots of launchers, 2, 3, 4, 5, all connected to this radar, all in different places, which is what makes these things so bloody lethal, and they really are lethal. Right, gonna crack on. Right, we're coming to one that I think I'm familiar with. This looks like an SA-8 OSA. Right, Shermanium. What do we know about this? I see a dishy thing at the top. So is this radar guided?
Yes, it's an all-in-one search, track and launcher system with 6 missiles. As you can see, it's also mounted on an amphibious vehicle chassis.
Oh wow, so this is a go anywhere. This is a 6-wheel go anywhere radar guided missile launcher. Wow, okay. Now interestingly, at the back it's got what looks a bit like IR receivers. It's not IR as well, is it? I doubt it is.
It's possibly that's electro-optical aiming for the crew.
Right, so just to explain what that means, or what I think that means, it can be aimed by a dish, which is I think this folded up thing here, which would get a radar lock like one of those would, or like an aeroplane would. But some units as well can use electro-optical to fire, possibly like this one here. Now
you can aim it, but it's probably not electro-optically guided.
Oh right, so what would be the use of that then?
The primary reason is if you see something and you can't get a radar lock on it, you track it visually, get the radar to track it, then once the radar has tracked it, it effectively becomes, basically you can let it do its thing then.
Oh right, so you can use the electro-optical system to find the aircraft essentially by eye, I guess, and then the radar can lock onto it from there.
That would be my guess, but I'm no expert on the OSA.
Yes, that's right, and obviously we're no experts, you know, we're not really an expert in anything, we're enthusiasts, so we're always looking for help from our viewers as ever to get the discussion going, but that's, I think, reasonable what we think of the OSA. What got a range for that, Sherman? In my mind it's about 3 to 4 miles, but see what you get.
Its missiles have an operational range of 9.3 miles.
I'm going to check that in DCS. In my mind in DCS that's a lot less, so that is to be agreed, but okay. Right, this little monkey, if I remember, is going to be a SA-9 Strela, I think that is, which is a funky little machine, little go-anywhere machine. It goes nice and fast. Look, here's the dude that aims it. Hello, sir. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is infrared driven, isn't it? Sidewinders or some derivative of IR guided missile.
So, as far as I could tell, the SA-7 is the name of the Strela.
Roger. I think there are several Strelas. I think there's an SA-7 Strela, SA-8, SA-9 Strela and SA-13 Strela, I think. So what we're probably going to find is there are various derivatives.
Yes, it's the equivalent of the US infrared manpad known as the Red Eye, which preceded the Stinger.
Gotcha. And I'm pretty sure it's something like 2 miles range or thereabouts. Maybe pushing 3.
The range of the missile is 2.6 miles, according to this.
Yep, sounds about right. Okay, that makes sense. Now, I'm not sure if we can fire straight up. From memory, I think it can fire about 45 degrees up. And what date was the SA-9 introduced then? Oh, and the SA-8, please.
The SA-9 was introduced in 1968. Also was introduced into service in 71.
71, right. It was a very busy period between mid-60s and early 70s by the sounds of it. All this stuff being developed by the Russians. Right, and we come on to the Big Mama. And just look at the scale difference between, say, that SA-6 system with 2 small units and this mammoth. This is the mighty SA-10 S300 Grumble. Right, so, and I'm bound to get this wrong, but I think we've got the first unit, which is the command post. So I think these are all needed for a fully equipped S300 suite.
Yes, the S300 is not a single vehicle unit. It relies on multiple vehicle launchers, vehicle radars, and a vehicle command center.
Affirm. So we've got the second unit, which is the 200 or 300 high foot search radar, which absolutely ginormous. Just imagine seeing that in real life. You've got the second unit, which is another type of search radar, I think. I stand to be corrected. I think it's another type of search radar. That's the one with the small kind of small square spinning dish. The fourth one, I believe, is the track radar. So once the search radar finds a target, the track radar feeds it to the track radar, and that can take over. And then you get two types of launchers. Now, I've never figured out what the difference between the launchers is, but I believe you're supposed to have at least one of each type of launcher to make a full suite. So as you can imagine, that is a big piece of kit. Look at the size of it. It's the size of a small village. It must cost an absolute fortune to maintain systems like this. However, they are absolutely mammothly good, as we found out, the S300s. Again, technically you can still beat them if you go low enough. If you go low enough, you can essentially beat anything within reason. The annoying thing is these radars, you see they're posted up so high, 100 feet high. It means that they can kind of look over trees and stuff like that. It makes them very hard to get near to. Also, the ranges are stupendous. In DCS, which is the simulator that we use, the missile launches, we've had hits of 60 miles before. 60 miles, absolutely massive, much further than any of our planes can fire at. That is up a high altitude, obviously, where these missiles work much better, and with a target that's coming, towards the radar site, which is very important. Down low, we've been fired on kind of 15 to 20 miles before. You can beat those missiles if you're 15 miles away pretty easily. They're big missiles. Look at everything we've seen so far. And then we go to an S300. The missiles are like, I don't know, 70 foot long or something, 50, 60 feet long. Absolutely massive, like small space, space shuttles. But the one good thing is their height, their size means they don't maneuver too well. You can dodge them. Very difficult to do, but you can dodge them. This type of launcher, rather than firing laterally or angled, this kind of launcher straight up, then it turns, and then it flies towards its target. So really impressive to watch. As regards, what is the date on them, Sherman, and what's the official range, and anything else of interest?
The S300 was introduced into service in 1978.
78, right. Does it have an official range on it?
I've got a full fucking table for the missile ranges, yeah.
Lols. What's the longest one?
That's the maximum range, yeah. Jesus, some of these are massive. The 40N6 has a range of 250 miles. Oh no, wait, that's technically that's an S400.
I was going to say, that sounds like an S400.
Is a version.
Yeah, because I think the S400 is essentially the same suite, but with different launchers.
So the 1990s version has a range of 120 miles. The 1980s versions have ranges up to 46 miles to 62 miles, perfect, depending on which one.
That's exactly what we said. So up to 60 miles we've seen launches. So yep, that's accurate. And like we said, our simulator deals with up to 1990 basically. So we've got the 80s, the older suite. Thank God. Imagine fighting 100.
On the notes of the S400, it also says here that their missiles have active homing.
Active, so they're Fox 3, are they?
Yeah.
Right. So these S300 Grumbles are Fox 1. Thank God. But it sounds like the later versions, in the 90s and further on, the S400s have twice or quadruple the range and active homing, fully active radars inside them. God, they must be expensive.
It does get worse. They've already released the S500.
Oh my god, bloody Russians! What's the matter with them? Who are they going to fire them at? Right. Okay. Can you imagine the cost of a suite like this? Right, go on, give me a range of an S500, even though it's, it
appears to not be specified here. It's probably still too new. I'm looking through the wall of text looking for ranges.
I don't think Putin will be happy until he's got a SAM system that will shoot right around the world. And then he'll be happy.
Well, why wouldn't he? Russia's defense strategy has always revolved around systems like the S300 because it's the most efficient way for them to do it.
Well, okay, so we'll polish this off. Like we said, we've got the early version of the S300, the 1980s version. It's still absolutely crazy good, 60 miles max range. So, we wouldn't, thank God DCS doesn't go into the 90s for aircraft.
Yeah, I just realised why they've been done at the S500. It's planned to be introduced into service in 2020.
Oh, that'll be why. Good. So the S400 is the big daddy at the moment. Then. Yeah, thank God we haven't got anything 90s stuff with stupid stealth and 250 miles missiles. Like, that's the size of our entire map that we sod that. Right, anyway, we must crack on because this video is dragging. SA-11 Buck, I know this is my favourite, the Buck launcher. Now, what we've got, and I'm probably going to get this wrong way around again because I always do, you've got a independent search radar, a standalone track radar, and a launcher itself. Now the interesting thing about this Buck launcher, and I've never fully understood this, so you've got the search radar here which does the long range searching. Once it's acquired a rough target, it feeds it to the track radar here, boom, which then can track it for an actual shot. You see all this back part here, it's all nicely tucked away, but it all unfolds, which maybe we'll do when we'll get Sherman in here and shoot him down shortly and show it all unfolding. Yes, that'd be a nice treat for you, Sherman. And this is the launcher, a big SA-11 missiles, good range, 20 miles. That's a really good optimal range. And when I say they fire at 20 miles, they really do fire at 20 miles. And even relatively low altitude, I've seen them shoot at people at kind of 13 miles down at low altitude. They're really capable missiles. Again, they're quite big, so you can beat them in tight turns, but they're pretty lethal.
According to this, the range of the Buck missiles is 29 miles.
29 miles, yep. So they've scaled it down slightly, or it's a slightly different version. But yeah, I've seen just over 20 mile shots. That sounds about right. Now the interesting thing is with this, you can kill the search radar, and the other two still work. We found this because we've taken out radars before, and the S-11s, the remaining units, still shoot us. So you can kill the search radar, and the other two units still function. You can kill...
Well, you have to bear in mind that killing the search radar will knock out their ability to search, but it won't kill their ability to track. That applies to most of these vehicles.
That's exactly right. You can kill... But the interesting one about this is it's special because you can kill the track radar as well, and it will still fire at you. You can kill every single thing apart from just this one launcher on its own, and it will still fire at you. So we can take out that, and we can take out that, and all we're left with is launcher, and you can see this whopping great sensor on the front. Now, absolutely no idea how this works. I'm sure it's all very complicated, but somehow just this launcher in itself has backup systems to... Now, I don't know if it's electro-optical, I don't know how they guide the missile in, but they do. We've been shot down by just this unit before. I don't suppose you'll have any Wikipedia information, Sherman, but you can tell me at least when the Buck was introduced.
Right, so the Buck, which is technically a variant of the Cub, was introduced in 1979 into service.
79, early 80s, okay. So that's all pretty cool. If you have any more information, I'm sure you will, watchers.
Yeah.
Let us know, because we don't know how all this works, obviously.
Interestingly enough, reading here, the only conflicts it's officially participated in is the 2008 South Ossetia War and the war in Donbass.
So still using them, still using Bucks then, all, 30, 40 years later. They're good missiles. You don't need anything bigger, you can't go over them. So altitude, these go up to Angel 60,000 feet, because we know we've tried, and basically nothing can get over that. An F-15 can't even get over that, we've tried. So they're as high as any plane can go within reason. S-300 goes up to space, so nothing can get over that, obviously. The SA-6 goes up to Angels 40,000 feet, and the SA-3 goes up to Angels 40,000 feet. So you can get over the SA-3 and SA-6, can't get over these two here. Nothing can do it, unless you've got a Blackbird, and Blackbirds are too cool, so they were taken out of service. Right, back to something a little bit smaller, but no less effective Shermanium. We've got here the SA-13 Strela. So this is the revision 3 of the Strela. It looks similar. We've got a goofy little Russian in the middle there looking out. He's got some laser range. He's got this little missiles on the back. It says different launcher vehicle, but otherwise it's the same. Can I ask when it was introduced and if there was any advantages over the others that were obvious?
Its reporting name is the SA-14 Gremlin, currently.
Gremlin, okay, so disagreement there between, and what range and what date have we got on that?
Alright, so here's the comparison chart versus Strela 2 and 3. So the warhead is 0.02 kilos, larger. Seeker type is an all aspect head rather than a rear aspect. Where's its effective range? Maximum range is actually shorter by about 100 meters according to this.
Right, okay. So it sounds like you got the old revisions over there, revisions one, the original and revision 1, which were rear aspect only, like an old Sidewinder if you imagine. You can only fire it essentially behind an aircraft because it has to be looking at the jet from behind. So that would have to let the plane go by before it's shot. And this, the new revision of Strela type, can shoot at a head-on plane because it's got the new type of seeker head, a bit like the later Sidewinders, like the AIM 9, Papa 5 and Mike and whatnot, which can shoot at a head-on. So that's the advantages. So it doesn't need as much range because it can shoot a plane that's head-on. It can shoot it as soon as it sees it. And it's go anywhere, all-terrain vehicle, obviously. So, okay, pretty lethal. Right, we've learned something there. I'm going to make sure I remember that.
I mean, it could be worse. You could be using a blowpipe, an example of how horrible British engineering is.
A firm we'll do British one day maybe, but we don't like slagging the British off. That's our problem. Right, now this, the absolute beast. I hate this so much. It's not as bad as a Roland, but it is a Tunguska. It even sounds dangerous. That is an SA. There's an SA-19. Hang on, have I got Tunguska? No, Cap's being bad. My apologies. No, sorry. I jumped the gun. This is an SA-15 Tor. Now, it looks awesome. I don't know anything about this. I don't think I've ever used one before. What do we know about the SA-15 Tor? It looks like a transformer.
Well, I suppose you could argue that compared to other designs it is. You'll notice that you can't see the missile racks, right?
Yeah, they're weird.
It's because the missiles are launched by an initial charge up vertically first, and then they launch it skyward.
Oh, let me look for hatches. Oh my goodness. Okay, right, I'll have to take your word for that then. And what is it? Radar guided, IR guided, electro-optical guided?
It's a single unit radar guided, as you can see.
Any range information? 5 miles, I'm guessing?
The range of the missile is 7.5 miles.
7.5 miles. Now, if I know my DCS well, that means it'll probably be about 5 miles or something in DCS, which is pretty lethal by the sounds of it. Again, go anywhere, multiple launch, I imagine. Radar guided. Okay, and can we have a date on that, please? Just get the perspective where we are.
Introduced into service in 1986.
86. We're mid to late 80s now. Wow. Okay, we're really cooking on gas now. So this is probably the latest.
Somebody start playing the synthwave.
Exactly, this is probably the latest thing we'll see then. And interestingly, I didn't know anything about it, the SA-15 Tor. Maybe we'll start putting some of them in then. I get a feeling this is going to be the nasty type of unit that only turns its radar on at the last minute. Horrible things to fight, things like this.
If it knows what they're doing, then yes.
Yep, things like this, they scan electrico-optically. Now don't quote me what's what, but it'll be something like that to begin with. And then, so they'll find you like that. Launches missile, and then when that missile's in the air, it'll turn its radar on, which is probably that dish there, and then only that point can you find it because it's only emitting radiation at that point, by which time you're dead because the missile's 1 mile away from you. Horrible things. Don't like them. Right, let's get something down to capsize. We're down to an SA-18 Igla, otherwise known as the Manpad. Similar to Stinger, I'd imagine. What information?
They are equivalent to the Stinger. They replaced the previous missile we were talking about, the Igla series.
Oh, a firm, which were back on the old Strelas. Can you tell me? I can. One thing I know because I've used them before. They have a maximum height of about 18,000 feet. That is probably about 2 miles laterally. I'd expect range. What do you know about them? When were they built? And anything else you know about them?
Alright, so we'll start by finding the maximum range of the missiles. What's the designation of the DCS one?
SA-18.
14? 18, got it.
Igla.
The maximum range of the SA-18 is Angel 17, apparently.
That's what I said, Sherman. 18. Oh, I am good. Right, okay. That's fine. Now, it also comes with a second man called a control man or something. I don't know what he does. I don't think we're going to find out between us, but if someone knows what this...
He is probably just the RTO/squad leader. His job is to keep in contact with other units.
Right, okay, and for some reason it makes this...
And probably also be the ammo bearer.
Yes, he is the ammo bearer, I can see that. Okay, that's cool. Anyway, these are the worst things apart from that and that. These are nasty little swines because they're infrared, they don't give you any signal that they're there until they've shot you, and the other thing is they're so small you can't see them. So...
actually, a couple of screenshots in here from the Iraq War of an A-10A with damaged tail section from an impact. It looks like it's missing one of its ailerons.
Lols. Can't shoot.
Or elevators, excuse me.
Can't shoot my hogs down. Right, yeah, nasty, nasty, nasty. Cap wants to ban them. Okay, next we have the mighty Tunguska. This will be an SA-19, I guess. Just look at it, look at the power of it. It's an absolute beast. It looks like Optimus Prime. It's got everything. It's got a little man in there. It's got all its quad booster things. It's got guns. It's got rocket missiles. What do we know about the Tunguska? When was it made? What ordnance does it have? It appears to be guns and missiles.
Right.
I can't remember whether it's radar.
So, it was introduced into service in 1982 and continues use to this day. However, its only official combat service was in 2008 in the Russia-Georgian War.
Roger.
Now, coming on to the thing about the guns and the missiles. The guns are radar tracked, so you use the radar to track the guns. But interestingly enough, the missiles are electro-optically guided SAC-loss missiles. So you electro-optically guide them, which means that you get no missile warning whatsoever unless you got a...
That's cheating. That is completely cheating. So you don't even get any warning this thing's firing at you.
Yes, however, it seems that the operators at DCS are not particularly smart about it because they have a tendency to keep their radar on when they're tracking you.
Beautiful, good, we like that. Yeah, you keep doing that. It's because I always set them to lower skill. I have to set all of this lot to lower skill because otherwise we can't do missions. The SAMs are just so freaking hard. And
so its main armament are those electro-optically guided missiles, and it has... the guns are 230 millimeters.
230mm guns. What an absolute beast. I'd love to see it firing. It's going to be awesome. Okay. Yeah, so it's just an absolute beast and can go anywhere, and they always shoot us down whenever we put Tunguskas in. Range in DCS, from my mind, was something like 4 to 5 miles. Do you know any different on real life?
I'm looking at the missile range table. Operational range of the missile is 6.2 miles maximum or 5 miles minimum, according to this. Probably not the actual minimum.
No, that doesn't. I think that's just...
No, that's...
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so I was going to say the one we get is about 5 miles because I've tested it out. You know, it doesn't tell you that it's there. Absolutely lethal. Cheat hack mode. Very annoying, but amazing if you want to defend a space. So that's good. Right, so that's that lot. Again, we're not experts. It's not completely comprehensive. We're giving you, an overview of these things. Those are what we've got at the moment in DCS on the Russian side. Of course, we've got NATO and whatnot. We'll do another day. Now, you probably want to see these firing, so stand by. Okay, welcome back. Now, it's very unlucky that we've got all of these SAMs here because there is a A-10 coming from that direction there, and he is a hostile. So, we'll see what happens. Right, the Strela's going. The SA-11 is opening. Oh my god, an S-300's gone up. And another. No, that's an SA-3 and an S-300 have gone up.
This is why you do not bring an A-10 into airspace unless you have air superiority.
Yeah, he's gonna get hurt. I know he's gonna get hurt. And wham, he's hit. And wham, he's hit. They're all firing, Sherman. The SA-6 is out. SA-3 is out. More S-300s are out. Absolutely going batshit crazy. The aerial's coming up on the SA-11. The Buck's gonna launch. Oh my god, that is a SA-6 up. That is the SA-15 Tor is firing. I've never seen that fire. You're right, Sherman. He did go up. It went straight up. You didn't lie. That's excellent. Strela's firing. The Tunguska's fired. The Tunguska's fired. Oh my... SA-6. SA-6 really going for it. That's an S-300. That's an SA-11 Tor. That is... it's a Strela! And there's no doubt about it. The A-10 is having a bad day at this point. And thump, another one. Oh, you dodged one. And thump. Oh, more going up. That's a Tor. No, the manpad's fired. A manpad's fired, Sherman. The guns are firing. Get on. Get on. He gowed us. How dare he gow us? Get on. We're hitting with the ZSU-23. That is a Tunguska firing. And that is the matey boys firing. Oh, my beloved... The Tunguska's fired. Thump! Right in the backside. That is that. Oh my god, we just had an accident. We just shot our own S-300 sight. That's a terrible thing to happen. It's okay, don't panic folks, we're professionals at this. Tunguska's going. Pow! S-15 Tor, really? He's got so many. Oh, look, I can see down his little hatch. Yep, right, good chance to look at the S-15. It carries Yes, 8 missiles, 1 best to fire. There it is, that was the last. That was the 8th missile on the SA-15 Tor, which is the 1982 version. Absolutely awesome. Oh, we had another accident. We've blown up the other S-300 radar. So it's very self-inflicted. And they're still going. The S-300, the S6 is packing it in by the looks of it. The SA-3s are almost all used up. The Buck is going bat-poo crazy. And I think that's it. The A-10 has survived. The A-10, no, we're not, because the Osa is still firing. Yes! Look at that Tunguska fire. It's 30mm cannons. Do we want to close up with that? Yes, we do, sir. Get on! Get on! He's gouged us, he's gouged us! He's hit us, Sherman! A mother.
Fun fact about the ZSU is that if it fired too long for continual periods, it could overheat so badly that the heat of the barrels would cause grounds to start discharging accidentally.
Lols.
The problem with that is that it would start causing the gun to keep firing every time a new shell was loaded, so you would just have this continuous stream of unreleased fire.
Stupid. Right, so you got to see everything there. Look, with the dishes out, you can see the Tunguska scanning. You can see the manpad is always ready. This guy's got his top open, so he's been firing. Strela revision 3 and 4. You see this pops up like that. Let's go. Oh, this dude's even moved. The SAA Osa's just started chasing him. He's got his doodly what's it, his electrical optical out. He's got his missiles launching. He's got his little antennae things spinning. Old Strela. Oh my! Oh, that's the Buck. That's the Buck. He loves that 5 mile range. I think it's going to go still far. Yeah, the Buck's got this. You see, it's come up. Massive dish he's got there. That's another Buck up. Also, the search radar you can see there at the front. What else we got? The S-300s always active anyway. What else have we got? We've got SA-6s. You can see them spinning round. Oh, stop gouging us, for God's sake. You see the Strela moving there. We've got that was the emplaced ZSU-23, and look how you can see how lethal it is. I mean, he missed there, but only because he was going left to right so fast. And we've got hits there. That's the Strela. That'll be a hit because the Strelas are pretty lethal. And you see how that Strela had to wait until he was rear, because that was the old style revision Strela where you could only fire from behind. We've got these SA-3s are all a bit used up. You can see this. Ow. You can see this little monkey, the Shilka, had a good game. Oh, that's about it, really. So, I hope that was a good example. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll do some other SAM soon, and as ever, we will see you later.